Hello everyone, my name is Lola and I'm your host on this channel, and thank you for watching me. If you're watching me for the very first time, you're welcome, and if you're back to watching me, thank you. I don't take you guys support for granted. On today's episode, I have a guest for the very first time. I'm so excited about this, and I have a guest coming in for the first time. His name is Seun Onigbinde. I don't know if you're if you're very into the political scene, you probably know who he is. But yeah, I'll let him introduce himself. I know I'm not doing a good job. Thank you for coming. I'm really excited. It's a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure being here. So, if people might know me or not, my name is Seun Onigbinde, the director for BudgIT. What we do is around four things. We do four things. One is that we provide access to the budget, making sure that everybody, everyday Nigerian can understand how public budgets work. We also track public projects, so I'm sure that roads, schools, hospitals are built. So we have a platform called Tracker that does that. We do some policy work around extractives, oil and gas issues. You can't talk about Nigeria without oil money, and that's where most of the corruption actually happens. Then we also support institutions, government, media, and civil society.
Okay, thank you. And he doesn't do this for only Nigeria. He has like 4 other African countries that BudgIT are working for. They have BudgIT in Ghana, Sierra Leone, and
Liberia.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
We're thinking Kenya soon.
Okay. Kenya soon. You heard it first from Lola's voice.
Yeah.
Okay. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about politics as it should be. Mr. Seun Onigbinde, he works with a lot of government officials, state government, helping them simplifying their data and everything. And he's very political conscious as well. As you all know, Lola's voice is all about politics, Nigeria, education. So I just want to tap or hear his point of view about how politics should be in Nigeria. And it's almost 2023, even though it looks so far away, it's almost close by. The people who are ready to participate in 2023 election have already started doing their assignment. So, what do you think?
Thanks so much, Lola, for the opportunity. I'm not a politician,
okay.
but I have a bit of understanding. And when you say what politics as it should be, we must ask that what's the end goal of politics?
Okay.
What exactly is politics supposed to do? It's a vehicle. That's what politics is. My mom has this very interesting quote that says politics is a dirty game.
That's what they all say.
Anytime I'm trying to think about politics, no. And it's because it's supposed to be a vehicle to governance.
Yeah.
It's a means to accumulate political power, to be able to deliver governance for the benefit of the people.
Okay.
So it's a form of vehicle to service, and that's where exactly politics should be. That's a fundamental framework. That should be the baseline, the initial push that I want to do politics. It's just because there's an opportunity to serve the people, and this is the vehicle to make it happen. And there are a few things that we must first understand for politics. First, it's a game of the elites in some sort of way. And we might look at it like, voting is politics. Voting is not politics. Politics is a product of elite consensus. When you say I want to run for office, where do you start from? I remember when we met Barack Obama, when I was doing my program with him, someone asked that question, say, "Sir, how do I become president?" How people can be
just like that.
and he answered in a way that, I didn't start by thinking, how do I become president? I started by thinking, how do I serve the people? And I think that's the first element around politics. The first question should be, how do I serve the people? And it's a product that in the serving the people, and you be more proximate with the people, and you have earned people's trust, that is when an elite consensus rises and say, Lola has done well for this community. He has helped us in our time of need. He has helped us in our time of want. We believe that Lola has the legitimacy to represent us. So that's why I say it's an elite consensus, because people
will
come together and give you that opportunity to say go, and they will back you with the resources, they will back you with the work and the energy to get you to be in that position. But that is not the way it is within our own environment. It differs that it looks like it's just someone is out of status, out of job, and feels like he needs to make things much more better for himself. He goes ahead to join politics, or she goes ahead to join politics, and that's the situation we see in Nigeria. Whereas you should have had some level of prolonged service to your community before you now say, this is my time to now be a representative of that community.
So if I understand you perfectly well, politics is all about service, but that's not really what is happening in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's not what's happening in Nigeria, because when you serve the people, you have what is called empathy. There's no way you can serve people and you don't understand, where the shoe pitches them. You don't serve the people by sitting in Abuja or your state capital, and you just appear maybe during holiday season or maybe when it's time to run for election. You serve people by listening to them, by also being able to project the vision maybe they don't see at that period. That's exactly what it is. But look at Nigeria. The well-to-do people in Nigeria, the political class is part of that. Whereas if you look at in the US, maybe you can have some benefit outside office, or maybe you write a book or you start speaking talks. But when you're in office, there's nothing that you are paid while in office that will make you a wealthy man, because your pay structure is not divergent from the median payment within the environment.
True.
That means if an average salary for a graduate in Nigeria, let's assume it's 300,000 or 400,000, a ideal politician serving the people, we should not earn beyond that bracket.
Everybody should be.
Yeah, you should be in that same, because you're serving. You're not here to accumulate money or to accumulate wealth. But if you look at a legislator earning 13.5 million naira, a governor with a ton of security votes that is unaccounted for, the president would have his impressed account, the minister will have impressed account, everybody's living life. So how do you call that
At the
service?
expense of the people.
Of the people. So you can't see, you now see a wide gap, that the people that you don't look like the people that you serve. You see you are serving poor people. Somehow you are living life in that space. That's not politics as it should be.
That is not politics as it should be.
Yeah.
I agree. Thank you for that beautiful summary. On this platform, when I was designing Lola's voice, my major objective and my major goal is to make more young people politically conscious and politically aware. I just want people to be enlightened. The way we talk about Davido and Chioma, those conversations. I want us to have those kind of conversation around politics, because it is what makes us human or something. It affects all of us directly or indirectly. If you say, oh, I don't care, at the end of the day, the consequences of not caring, you're still going to face it.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, everybody needs to be actively involved in politics. And when we talk about actively involved in politics, a lot of people think it's just voting, and I feel like there is more to that. Something happened in Nigeria 2020, to be precise, where we saw the End SARS movement.
Sure.
And I was excited, even though I know the Nigerian youth, the Nigerian population, they have what it takes to come together, but I never saw it coming. I knew it was going to come, but I didn't know it was going to come that far. The level of community organizing almost across the globe, where every Nigerian citizens are people were going to the embassy, people were going to different countries, different states across the 36 states. This literally happened. Everybody spoke with one voice, and those in power, they heard us, they were afraid, nobody saw it coming. So I liked what happened. I kind of liked the coming together of everybody and speaking with one voice, saying enough is enough. It was more than answers for me. It was saying enough of bad governance. People are tired. That's just an avenue of pushing out the frustration. But politics is about to start 2023. People are already gearing up. People are coming. Asiwaju Tinubu, we are hearing rumor, even though it's not confirmed. People are saying it's going to run.
But someone who said he should be ready for the next station of service. So
I don't know what that means. But when he went to Kano the last time, people on Twitter were angry. They were like, is he going to win? Is he going to be the president? And I was in my head, I study I'm very observant, and I know that he might win if the political establishment wants him to win. He has every opportunity, but the young people don't want him there, quote and unquote. So,
we also have to, but the young people is also a big spectrum. So you have to also ask which young people don't want him there. I'm not holding brief for him.
I don't know which young people don't want him there. You understand? But I saw Twitter. I saw people's reaction. Yes. People are tired. People want new faces. But for me personally, I feel like we're not doing our assignment properly. Like you can't change. You can't change something, tweet. And I'm a fan of social media, and I'm never gonna say social media can't do its job. But everything has limit. That's the argument I'm holding right now. So what do you think young people can do to like actively participate in politics too? Because in all honesty, Nigeria needs change. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but we need change from things that are not normal.
I mean, you're right, and what can we do with politics? Number one, we don't know our power. We don't know how much power we build as young people. The median age in Nigeria is around 22 right now. The median age in Nigeria now is around 22. And so, if you look at it, we don't even know the power that we wield as a country. We don't know how much. If the young people of Nigeria, and I say it's a spectrum because, to the people who go and steal ballot boxes, to the people who are properly educated, to the people who are just Davido and Biscuit, Adred France. They are all youths. They are all young people. So, I don't want to always say, when we say young people, we do have classify people in social media as that's young people. But if that bracket says, this is our future, and we need to hold it, and we need to decide that this is how we want our future to be, things are going to change rapidly. Things are going to change. And if you look at the Nigerian voting population, we have close the adult population that can vote is around 90 million Nigerians.
Wow, that's a lot.
Now, how many people vote in the election? There's around 34 million Nigerians. In the US, the last election was doing around 80% turnout in some places.
Wow.
Nigeria, we don't even do anything significant in terms. We have not even added to the voting population empirically in the last 4 election cycles. So when we say when the young people, we have more young people that are coming into the voting stream, it's not evident there. So either they are not voting, or either they don't exist. And I think they exist. It's just that voting, that we don't have enough young people coming on board to do. So the first thing we have to do is, you want to be involved in politics. Let's start with the fundamental. The fundamental is that you must get your PVC, your permanent voters card. That's the first thing. The system must recognize you as a voter. Now, when you now take the second level, it's to be a member of a political party. Because voting, and don't get me wrong, voting is very important, but voting is the lowest form of power in a democracy. Because you are just affirming choices that have been offered to you. So if you say, okay, I want to be a voter, give you APC gives you a goat, PDP gives you a ram. Then you're like, okay, what's the difference I have in here? So at the end of the day, when you're trying to build that pyramid of power, and you want to go to the next stage, it is about you being a member of a political party and doing enough within that political party to be a delegate. That's another level. When you become a delegate of that party, which means you also are wield power to decide who runs on the platform of your party. So we, as young people, we must understand that level before you now say, okay, I also want to run. But running, like I said in the beginning, is a conscious decision that comes from service.
Running is expensive. That's even another topic entirely.
Yeah. So even if, as I say, a lot of people say, go and join politics 25, I don't advise it. I say, fix your life. Build a sustainable means of income, because politics has a way of taking so much from you. And if you're not careful, you don't find a means to recover. So my own idea is, young people, we have an opportunity to make our voices heard in 2023. Now, are we going to do two things? One, yes, how are we going to build a counter elite in 2023? Which means the smart privileged young Nigerians who used NSAS, because you might look at NSAS as like a decentralized protest, people were on the street. But there were some, they call the people behind the masquerade that were doing all the whole organizing and the whole energy and the whole media work. That elite among the young people, they have to band together and constitute a new elite within the political space, a counter elite that is more driven by by the highest ideals or a different value system. Because the political class we have, most of them, as we have them right now, are not driven by the proper value system that can change Nigeria significantly. That's why it's all game. That's why it's all business. So we need a counter elite. And until that counter elite stands up and shows itself either by resources, or either by committing time, or either by saying this is what we're going to do different, and is able to build that counter elite culture, we will have to make do with whoever APC or PDP, we need the current elite system that they have will give onto us. So that's the first thing I would say. If we're going to change politics, that's where we start. And that means we throw all our egos on the floor. That means we are all ready to say we are committed to a long-term project. We are not going to, we might not even win in 2023. We might going to maybe win in 2031. And we are all going to say in 2031, or when this, because a generation that rules or that leads Nigeria is going to pass away by the force of nature. It's going to leave. So if a new generation, if we're going to bound together and build a new collective that says we are the new elites, that the second thing is that we need to inspire young people to see the importance of participation. Because like I said,
that.
We are not bringing enough people to the voting pool. We are not.
So if I get you well, everybody has a work. Everybody has work to do.
Yeah.
Like bringing more young people into like the world of political participation. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's how we change the game. Because I tell people when to survive Nigeria, I tell people is you must keep two thoughts in your head at the same time. You must be a pessimist and you must be an optimist. You must be a patient person and you must be an impatient person. And because we might feel that Nigeria has changed suddenly now, but the systems, the failed system that we're running now is not because our ideas are not enough. It's not because technology is a problem. It's not because something is wrong with our skin or with our land or with our pet people. It's the fundamental problem that they are human beings that just choose to become stumbling blocks to the progress of Nigeria. So designing a system to counteract that takes time, but we are also very, very late. That's why I say we must have those two thoughts in our head. How do we apply patience with impatience? How do we know that we are late?
I don't know.
And we also have to we also know that it will take time. And I think that's we as young people, we have to do the work, because every generation chose somehow tried but didn't do enough work. 1999 was a clean slate. If for example, let's say this is 1999, I was running for office, how much the Lamadation have to run for public office? How much the Chief Seun Onigbinde have to run for public office? These were people who were journalists. Lamadation didn't have much going on. And so it was easy because the system was not heavily monetized. But now, and so if the civil society or people like Eggers who had these highest levels of ideals have brought into the system at that time, they would have been one to set the tone of how our democracy should tick off. But a lot of people disengaged.
And it was painful though, because most of those who for the democracy didn't actively participate in the democracy process. They just got it and they left it like that.
Yeah. Now it becomes more difficult now to even get. And that's why I tell people, my first point coming back again, let the counter elite that is more politically cautious, let them arise. And you will see that if we're copying the US presidential system, you see that every single body, even a corporate organization, there's something happening in Georgia now around some voting rights being receded and things. You could see brands. You just imagine a first bank speaking about constitutional issues. It's not going to happen in Nigeria.
Because people are afraid.
People are afraid, or they will do that because institutions are weak. But in the US, you see Delta running the campaign says this should not stand. And I think that's the level we have to. Everybody wants to do business. Everybody wants to do his own stuff. But reality is that, like Oreo Kolo says, you cannot entrepreneur your way out of Africa's problem. Yeah, you cannot say, oh, business principles are going to be out of, because you can what happened with Kokada. The government policy
God,
comes
that was sad.
and you are switched off.
That was sad.
Young people of Nigeria, that elite, to pay more attention to the policy and the political space. And I'm not saying carry it in on your head, but be much more involved about being about supporting. And I'm not saying me, no. There are a lot of people that are working to change the narrative. Support them. You have young people running for offices with better ideas. Support them. You have people who set up schools, like Mrs. Ezekwesi set up a school of politics and policy and governance. Support them. Those are the kind of things that will change the game in the long run if we choose to do them. But if we say, I also want to do my business, I don't want to fight government, I don't want to change, well,
Yeah, thank you very much. That was quite interesting. So another thing before you leave, we've talked about political participation. You talk to me about politics and everything. So I want to talk about the government of the day. You were actively involved in 2015 election in bringing General Muhammadu Buhari to power. 2019, something changed. You weren't really involved, and you got a political appointment from the government of the day. And the supporters of the government were like, no, they don't want you, you didn't support their government, blah blah blah, you shouldn't be there. Me personally, I didn't even know you then, but I know you then, but I wasn't your friend. And I was sad, because I'm like, why would you want to lose someone like Seun Onigbinde? You need that brain. Do anything to keep that brain within the government. So, I was sad. I was very sad, and I feel like a lot of people too felt that way. What happened? So I'm asking you two questions.
okay.
What do you feel about the government of the day? For me, I have my thought about the government of the day, but what do you feel about the government of the day?
So let's start from 2015. I think before that, I voted maybe 3 times in all my life, and I've only voted Buhari for president. I didn't vote in 2019, and I wouldn't have voted him. And that's to tell you how much I believe that he had this contrarian view. In terms of, he could have joined PDP, or when the whole thing was buzzing with PDP. But he said, "Oh, I'm going to take this route in APP, AMPP, CPC." So it was just always be like, it was like creating like a differentiated outlook. And I feel like, and I know everyone is aware to some extent, maybe we didn't know deeply, but we were aware of his autocratic history, and how even he was involved in the whole removal of an democratic elected system. But when someone has been around for office for 4 times and actively went to court to try to reclaim his money, you feel to some extent. But something you also want to learn as we go along is that old habits die hard. and I think that's my major problem. My major problem with Buhari is that there seems to be lack of understanding of the gravity of the current crisis that we have as a country. And like I said, we require, a lot of impatience to get things out. And you can put them into 3 things. 1, population. We're growing too fast in terms of population than the economic growth of Nigeria. So GDP per capita is falling on an annual basis. That's the first problem. So nobody's sitting down to say, how do we grow this economy? And I know there is context of oil prices were low, but this about pandemic happened. But this is 6 years. What part of the economy was not activated before? That in the 6 years of Muhammadu Buhari got activated, and that's become a new plank or a new vista or a new opportunity. If you took away the telecoms reforms that Obasanjo did in in between 1999 and 2007, Nigerian economy would not have grown in the last 4 quarters, because the major plank that's making the Nigerian economy grow is the liberalization of the telecom sector. So that's my first. Don't not understand the urgency that we need to grow the economy. So you now start doing what you now start saying, and we need to eat what we sell, or we need to eat what we plant. I mean, so I feel like I count them as pedestrian economics, because it's not proven in history that that's the way you actually grow the economy. China did not grow by saying that we're going to close our borders and do impossible. They did it for a while, but they found out that the only way to scale growth was to sell to the world.
And they're doing that.
And they're doing that. And even you have countries like Kenya, they didn't have 5 years ago, they didn't have $1 billion flower business. They created $1 billion flower business. So naturally, the flowers that people are giving to themselves in Europe and to the US are sourced from Kenya.
Really?
So in a way, we don't even understand the urgency of the problem. Second thing we are not doing is that the oil, this whole dependence on oil. What have you done? What have you done to sever us from that space? What have you done? So 6 years now, no petroleum industry bill has been passed. Even though we know that the Jonathan government had the biggest opportunity to do that, because oil prices were high. As if when prices are high and you want to sell your property, let's assume that you have a house and oil prices of housing is high. That's the best time to sell. When prices go down, you don't sell. It's a painful time that we didn't ride that wave. But now we have a chance again. We are still going to spend 1.5 billion on retrofitting or fixing almost a dead refinery. So when you hear things like that, and you can see that the currency continuously loses value every single time that oil prices go down. So why is that not raising alarm bells in the system? Third is the social sector. Now there's a big push, and I can't deny that we've been borrowing so much, and I can't even say we can match the borrowing to the infrastructure that is being built. That's not even showing up. The numbers don't even add up. We've been borrowing more from CBN, from international market, from domestic bond market, but we're investing on one side, we're not investing on the other side.
What side are we investing?
We're trying to do the hard infrastructure. Even though we're not even properly targeting that. So you see us trying to do an extension rail to Niger Republic. Niger Republic is a $12 billion economy. That's no economy, is not up to Dangote refinery. Whatever is building in the Bejuleki. I mean, we're not even proposing our infrastructure properly, but that's a separate case. But what happens to education? What happens to health? That is the fabric, that is the soft part of the infrastructure that you build. Without you not building people.
Human
capital. You don't transform, that infrastructure doesn't transform the environment. You see China, sent thousands and millions of their students to Western institutions to go and learn, to come back and bring those knowledge backward. They try to invest in technical education. They try to make sure that they invested in seed science so that agriculture is not the same way we were owing it in 60, 50 years ago. They changed the whole lot about mechanization. Those are the things you do different. But it looks like there's no conceptual thinking beyond we're going to borrow, we're going to do some infrastructure, I'm going to plaster some PR around it. And I think that's what worries me about the gravity of the problems that we have in Nigeria and the urgency that it requires. We're not doing that. And when you now start putting ethnicity, or some form of narrow nepotism around those kind of things, then you now begin to wonder, is this the Buhari that we really, really built? Sometimes I feel sad, because I feel I played in my own small role. I can't say I voted more than my own votes, but I'm sure I made all the noise to say, even if it is to change, even if it's to get PDP to be back on its seat, to say, you have spent 16 years in power, let's try somebody else. If that was the message, even if that was a lone message that we're going to pass, but somehow you're going to ask yourself, even if you're going to pass that message, who are you using to pass that message? You could have interrogated deeper. And I feel that's the lesson that young people of now
questioning. We
should do more questioning. We should be questioning. We should be asking tough questions. We should have sat him down and asked him on policy. We should have pressed him on his history. We should have pressed him on his conceptualization of ideas. And that's something that we have to do for in 2023.
Yeah.
Not everybody is offered to you. You must question them effectively. Not people that run away from debates. You that should not be acceptable in any way.
Questioning is a good form of like getting to know someone, getting to know where their head is, and I use that a lot, and I think more young people are going to use that to like, you know, not everybody, you have to question everybody, be it your local government chairman, be it the House of Rep, be it the senator. You have to say, what are you using our allocation for? You have to tell them what you want, you know, just have a conversation.
Questions.
Yeah, ask questions.
That's the tagline budget.
Oh, ask questions.
Ask
Okay.
questions. And I think on the appointment issue, it's not like I was enthusiastic, because I mean I look at everything. I mean, what upside is it giving me? But
like you said to serve.
To serve, but that's the final point. You look at it like, I mean, it takes a whole lot from me financially. It takes a whole lot from me in terms of time for family. It takes a whole lot from me in terms of even anything. But it's an opportunity to serve, and it was not like I was taking a long-term project. It wasn't even a political. I think it was like a technical appointment, and it was just like, I will do it for 1 year and see what we can do. And when the whole noise came up, I'm like, okay, I want to serve, but I want to serve in an atmosphere that elicits trust. When people see me as I'm here to help, and not I'm not here to sabotage you. And if the noise on the outside gets into the noise on the inside, and the people on the inside also now feel that we might not trust him to do some work, and I just don't think. Let me go where I'm honored. Let me go where I find peace. And
That's true.
I'm still there, but I have interest in politics. Yeah, I do. I always tell people that civil society work is, for me, is a part of the journey. The end goal is optimization of public resources for the people. And if you're going to do that, you can't keep on shouting from the outside.
That's true.
But it's also a process. You know, the time would come that naturally gives you the opportunity to put all the ideals that you carry and be able to put that to place. So someday in the future, hopefully by God's grace, we'll try.
Someday in the future. Thank you very much for that. That was quite interesting. Quite interesting. Looking forward to 2023. It's going to be like an interesting race. I love politics. I love the heart of politics. I love, you know, I just love the noise. I just love everything about it. And, you know, I love to like participate in politics. So, you know, we're rounding up the show. Is there anything you would like to say to like young people, because that's our target audience? Is there anything you'd like to say to them looking forward to 2023, or even what they can start doing from now on to 2023, or how they can just, you know, a lot of people are confused. They're like, I don't even know what to do. Where should I go to? I went to the meeting. These old people that are there, you know, all those things.
I would say, I mean, register to vote. Make sure that you get your voter's card in a place that you can vote, because a whole lot of problems that people get their voter's card in market and their universities, and when the day of the election shows
They are
up,
home.
they are home and they can't vote. So register in a place where you can vote. And secondly, if you have an opportunity to join a political party, do it. Do it because, and it will take time. You know, you also have to observe. You have to be present. You have to be active. But do it with a high level of conviction and some form of value system. I mean, because don't do it like this is just a transactional or a prebendal opportunity to aggregate wealth. You know, do it that it is an opportunity actually to deny yourself and serve the people. And I think that's what should come at the end of the day. And that's why I'm not always. You know, in the US, you can start a political career like a Biden, start maybe a senator at 28, 30, and gradually grow through that system and stay there for 40 years. Because it's not a vehicle that Biden didn't come out 40 years or 47 years after being in the US government. He didn't come out to be a multi-billionaire. He didn't come out to have some stupendous ways that could not be understood, that could not be explained. But in Nigeria, it takes a whole lot of money to actually do politics. So I will also say, take a while to use. Don't say when I have all the money I will start. Don't do it. Start and continuous and be in consciousness and continuously seek an opportunity to raise your income level, to come to a place where you can also have some form of, you have gotten a bit of social capital by being present in the community, and now with the little resources you have and you're able to aggregate from other people, you're now able to give your own chance in politics. And I think that's what we need to train young people to be much more aware of.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on Lola's Voice. I really do appreciate, and thank you for watching. If you like the content, if you like what this channel stands for, please do subscribe and share the video. Thank you very much.